You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind.
Mind and intellect, opening and expanding your consciousness, your intelligence.
Myra, you mustn't. You mustn't, Myra. Myra, you mustn't. You mustn't. You mustn't. You mustn't.
Doctor! Doctor!
It is difficult to violate the privacy of dreams. After all, there are no witnesses to our nighttime fantasies. But when a man's nightmares are an accurate reflection of the truth, and in trying to relieve his suffering, he commits that truth to paper, then he creates greater torments than those of his restless sleep, as sure as my name is Boris Karloff. We're concerned now with a woman who makes use of a nightmare to persecute the innocent as well as the guilty. A persecution that is much worse than murder. That's the name of our story. Our principal players are Miss Constance Ford, Mr. John Barragray, Miss Christine White, Miss Harriet McGibbon, and Mr. Dan Tobin. Let me assure you, my friends, this is a thriller.
Family lawyer. Where's Uncle Archer?
He passed on early this morning. I'm sorry, Connie, but these occasions are very sad.
How long will it take to settle the estate?
Not too long.
I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know when and where the will be read.
I'm afraid that won't be necessary. You see, Mr. Gedney died intestate. By that I mean he died without leaving a will.
I know what it means! It means you're a lousy family lawyer. First, my husband dies without a will, and now his uncle.
Archer Gedney was terrified of dying or anything that reminded him of it. Whether or not your husband died without leaving a will makes no difference. He had squandered a sizable inheritance from his grandmother.
And left me nothing. I expected Uncle Archer to leave his favorite nephew's widow something, at least. Who does get the money?
His sister, your mother-in-law, of course.
That figured. The rich get richer. Diary. I bet this is a lot of laughs. What do you suppose the old coot found to write about in this place?
Well, quite a lot, apparently.
What do you know? I can hardly wait to read it.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Walworth, but that belongs to Mrs. Walworth Sr. now.
Don't worry, I'll return it to her. Were you about to say something profound, Mr. Sinclair? Or just goodbye?
You please tell Mrs. Walworth that her brother died quietly. There was no pain.
I am sure she will be very relieved. Bye.
Are you finished poking and probing?
For now.
What's the verdict?
You're going to have to cut down on your social life, Mrs. Walworth. And I mean way down. And since I've got a spy in the house, I wouldn't try to put anything over on me.
Can't you confine that sort of thing to more private surroundings?
Oh, Mother.
I suppose I should be grateful to Ralph that he finds you attractive, Anne. Ralph, can't you help me get her to liven herself up a bit?
If you're trying to change the subject, you're not succeeding. If you feel another spasm coming on, a few drops of that'll set you right. But call me in any event.
Is he always this authoritative?
Nearly always.
Goodbye.
How is she? I mean, really?
Her cardiograph shows up very well for a woman her age. If your mother eases up on parties and running around, she should be all right. If she doesn't,
I don't think it is the parties or the late hours.
maybe she's worried about her only daughter becoming an old maid. That's because she doesn't see how pretty you really are. See you tonight?
Yeah.
Dr. Mitchell, I presume. I'm Connie Walworth.
My sister-in-law.
Now I know that Myra's in good hands. And Anne, too. Myra and I worry about our little orphan Annie. She always seems to go out of her way to avoid meeting attractive, eligible young men. Will it be all right if I go up for a moment?
Certainly.
Thank you.
She comes on strong, doesn't she? Gets under your skin, I'll bet.
Oh, a little. That's a lie, a whole lot.
Know how you can stop that? Take your mother's advice and make her green with envy.
Mother always said you've got to be attractive to men. That making the Connies of this world envious is the most important asset a woman can have.
And you don't believe it.
No, I don't. Why believe in something that's beyond you?
Darling, I love you just the way you are. But if it bothers you not being a swan, then do something about it. You can, you know.
You're still young, Connie, and you've got your looks. So get yourself a job or a man, either or both, because I'm finished taking care of you, quite finished.
That'll make an interesting item for the gossip columns. For rent, one shabby apartment over a hobby shop, recently vacated by the daughter-in-law of Myra Moneybags Walworth.
Don't you threaten me, Connie. If it hadn't been for you, my son would be alive today.
Your son had a talent for smashing up racing cars. I didn't tell him to take that flip at Le Mans. He didn't figure to walk away indefinitely.
You were his wife. You should have stopped him.
You were his mother a lot longer than I was his wife.
I didn't Archer leave you enough to get you out of my hair.
Uncle Arch's literary talent didn't run to composing wills. He was too busy writing diaries.
Diaries? Archer kept diaries?
For 10 years, didn't you know? One for every year he spent in that place.
How much do you need?
Whatever you can spare. That's very generous of you. Just about pay my hairdresser.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I love you, too. Hi. I saw that you were hard at work, so I thought I'd just scoot by.
Not trying to avoid me, are you, Connie?
I'm your tenant, landlord, not your chattel.
So I'm being put in my place again. Is it proper for a patient friend to congratulate a new heiress on her good fortune?
There was no will. Nothing.
But you were so sure.
It's the story of my life. Connie pays for what Connie gets.
I'm sorry. I know you were counting on at least something. As a matter of fact, so was I.
You worried about your rent, landlord?
Well, it's been quite a long time. I don't like to mention it, Connie.
Why don't you stop up later for a drink? Uncle Archer, you were a stupid, dull, dreary, old bore. June 5th, 1960. It happened again last night. The same dream. The house is quiet. Dead quiet. Except for the rasping sound of SM's breathing. M has the hypodermic needle in her hand.
What's this?
M takes SM's hand. My heart beats suffocatingly. I try to cry out, but there are no words in my throat. And then I hear myself. Wait, you mustn't, you mustn't. But there is no stopping M, just as there is no stopping the dream. But I try. Every night I try. I wonder, does M dream too? Well?
Oh, what? What is that? Where'd you get that?
It's a diary. Uncle Archer's diary.
So?
What do you make of it?
Some kind of a dream.
What kind of a dream?
Some sort of nightmare.
A nightmare. A book about a nightmare. Page after page, the same nightmare. About a murder.
Murder? Come on, Connie.
You want your rent, landlord? Well, you're gonna get it.
Look, honey, forget about the rent.
You'll get it with a bonus. Now scram.
We were gonna have a drink together.
I'm about to have a previous engagement.
Connie, don't get carried away with this thing. I beg you.
That's the difference between us, Ray. You beg, and I take.
Yes?
Mr. Sinclair, I'm sorry to bother you about such a trivial matter, but,
Well, what can I do for you, Connie?
well, my mother-in-law was so pleased with that diary of her brother's that I thought I'd just drop down to your office and get the rest of them for her.
But I've already personally turned them over to her this afternoon.
I see. Well, there's more than one way to skin a mink.
Here's September, October, and November, 1948, lady.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you.
Yeah, I'm a dust-coated jewel.
Ugh. Obituaries, obituaries. You're Dr. Milton Crowell?
Well, how do you do, Mrs. Walworth? My nurse said your business was urgent. How can I help you?
Well, you couldn't have been out of medical school.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, when Mrs. Sarah Gedney died 12 years ago, I understood you were the attending physician.
Well, that must have been my father.
Oh, I see. Well, then it's your father I want to see.
Well, he died last year, Mrs. Walworth.
I'm so sorry. But, perhaps you can help me after all. I assume that your father kept files of all his patients?
Yes, of course.
I wonder if I could look at Mrs. Gedney's file.
I'm sorry. Most people don't understand that a doctor's files are kept in the strictest confidence.
Even when the patient and the doctor are deceased?
Yes, that's right.
Well, thank you for seeing me, Doctor. It isn't essential that we find her.
I beg your pardon? Find who?
Mrs. Gedney's nurse. You see, my mother-in-law is quite ill, and we remembered how efficient this particular nurse was. And we'd like to find her.
Well, the nurse's registry can help you locate her.
Well, I know how stupid it sounds, but we can't even remember her last name.
Well, I think professional ethics can be stretched to accommodate a request like that.
Thank you, Doctor. Miss Snyder?
Yes.
May I come in?
That's not fair. You're the third one this week. A person can't have a gentleman friend without the gossip spreading tales. Go ahead, take a look. You'll find a bottle in the kitchen and some fancy eats, none of which came out of my relief check. I don't care what my neighbors say. My gentleman friend likes me to have nice things.
And lots of them.
Well, it's only costume jewelry. The thought's the same. Do you mind making your report and leaving? I want to go back to bed.
I'm not a social worker, Miss Snyder. I've come for your professional help. I'm willing to pay for it.
No. Oh, that's out of the question. I haven't taken a nursing case since...
Since? Mrs. Gedney died 12 years ago. You better sit down, Miss Snyder.
Well, it's nothing. It's... I haven't been well. I don't know anything about Mrs. Gedney's death.
I didn't ask you anything about Mrs. Gedney's death.
Who are you?
A friend, if you'll confide in me.
There's nothing to confide.
All right. Let's talk in generalities. Suppose an 84-year-old lady had just been given an injection of insulin, and suppose a few minutes later she was given a second injection of insulin. Would it be fatal?
I'm no doctor.
You were a very competent nurse.
You'll have to excuse me.
Take your time.
No right to go prying into my things. I'll thank you to leave.
When you tell me what I want to know.
Get out of here!
Something a gentleman friend once taught me.
I'll yell. I'll yell for the police.
And how will you explain a sable coat from relief checks to the Bureau of Internal Revenue?
What do you want?
The truth about Mrs. Gedney's death.
I don't know anything.
Myra and Archer paid you off, didn't they?
No. All right, I took their money. Why not? She was going to die anyway. And then when I got the money, I was afraid to spend it. I was afraid people would ask questions.
What happened the night Mrs. Gedney died?
I wasn't in the room, I swear it. They said I looked tired, that I should lie down for a while, and they'd take care of her. And when I came back, the poor old thing was dead.
From an overdose of insulin?
Yes.
Why didn't the doctor discover it?
He didn't suspect anything. She was very old. There was no need for an autopsy.
And you made sure he wouldn't suspect.
She was going to die anyway. And then I got the money and I was afraid to spend it. I was alone and afraid. I was alone and afraid.
What do you want?
I just thought I'd drop by to see how you were getting along. And to see if you found Uncle Archie's diaries as fascinating as I did.
As you did.
Didn't you notice this year's was missing?
What exactly fascinated you, Connie?
A dream Uncle Archer had.
A dream?
A dream about a murder.
Go on.
You sure you want to hear this? I wouldn't like to see you toss off one of your little attacks.
You couldn't care less about me. Go on.
You and Uncle Archer got rid of the nurse that night, didn't you?
Snyder never left the room.
It's not what she says.
She said... Where did you find her?
You look tired, Uncle Archer said. Why don't you take a nap, you said. We'll take care of the old lady.
No. Snyder never left the room.
She left the room, all right. She left the room long enough for you and Uncle Archer to commit murder.
That's not true. She was old and sick. She simply died. There wasn't even an autopsy.
You thought that one out, too, didn't you? An old lady, helpless, Being kept alive by injections. The insulin and the hypodermic needle handy.
Oh.
Why not give her an extra dose? Put her out of her misery.
No.
Put her out of her misery and put her fortune into your hands.
Stop.
Into your hands and Archer's before she changed her will. Or changed her mind about dying for another 4 or 5 years.
No. Stop.
Archer held her down, clamped his hand over her mouth, while you, Myra, you jabbed in the needle. Better, sweetie?
How much?
$100,000
You're mad.
for the diary and my silence. Oh, and I'll be perfectly reasonable. I'll give you exactly 24 hours to raise the cash. Until tomorrow, Myra. Oh, and, don't disappoint me, huh? I'll have to go to the police.
Anne, you look absolutely wonderful.
I can't go, Ralph.
What do you mean you can't go? What's happened?
Nothing. I just can't go, that's all.
Now, come on. Something must have happened or you wouldn't be so upset. Is anything wrong with your mother?
Please don't ask me.
And I have every right to ask you. All right, I'll go out and find out for myself.
No, I don't want you to, Ralph. Please, it's none of your concern.
I thought you were my concern, but I guess I was wrong. Well, your mother's still in my care. If she needs me, you know where you can find me.
My. New hairdo, new dress, new little orphan Annie.
Stay away from my mother.
Something doesn't quite make it, though.
Stay away from her.
I know. Flair. You haven't got the flair, sweetie.
If you don't stay away from her, Connie, I swear I'll kill you.
You're not the type. You're not the type to hold on to a man, either. Especially one as good-looking as that doctor of yours.
When she wakes up, give her 2 of those. And what was she muttering about, having only 24 hours? 24 hours for what?
I don't know.
All right, then I'm going to get her into a hospital.
Oh, no, not without her permission. She made me promise. But I will try to persuade her.
Do that. You've been most cooperative in all the little ways.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. Whether I get her to the hospital or not, whether I keep her under sedation, nothing is going to help her except a release from the tension that's choking her to death. I've got to know what's causing it, Anne. Well, have it your way. Keep your secret. Carry her to your mother's grave.
in? You're at her office.
I was just about to leave.
That's pretty good time. I've been shopping. You can take me to lunch. Like?
I like.
How do you like the fat cat?
I like. You have been shopping.
Why not? I'm about to come into a little, inheritance.
Oh?
How about that lunch, Doctor?
I have an appointment.
Cancel it.
You do come on strong.
Only when the mood and the man stir me.
You, tempt me, but no.
Scared Annie will find out?
Give me 10 minutes. Make yourself at home.
Want something, Miss Myra? I just phoned the bank, Bessie. They're sending a man out with some papers that I must sign. Let me know the minute he gets here.
Yes, ma'am. Mother, do you think you should see anyone?
I must, dear. This is something that can't be postponed. Something very important for all of us.
Is it something I could do?
No, thank you, dear. Only I can attend to this.
I see. Well, now it's time for your medicine.
Later, dear, after the man comes.
No, Ralph left strict orders. And now we're going to take a nap.
Oh?
Comfy?
Thank you, dear. Diary, Connie. If you make a scandal, I'll stop you. She kills me.
Shh. I won't let Connie hurt you. Leave everything to me. With Mother. She's sleeping. I'm going out for a while.
I'll look after her, Miss Anne. Now, don't you worry now.
on up.
I thought you said you had to see Myra at 6 o'clock.
His time.
You're, not exactly the bashful type, are you?
My father was quite a philosopher. He used to say, Connie, never hide your light under a bushel.
And being a good little girl, you listened and you learned.
I've always been fascinated by doctors.
Well, as everybody knows, we're nature's noblemen.
I can wait. Hand it over. Hand it over. Hand it over.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you all right? Can you walk?
Yes, yes.
What's going on out there?
I'll send you a telegram.
I'd ask you, what was going on up there?
What's the matter with you? Let go of me. You're hurting me.
Well, it's about time. It's a fair exchange.
Drop something.
Adrenaline.
Still ticking, Doctor?
Like a $2 clock.
You're lying.
Now, you just close your eyes and go right back to sleep, Myra.
I have to talk.
No arguments, young lady.
Please, Ralph. I have to talk. For Anne's sake, and yours. I've got to talk.
All right.
Funny how things work out. The old lady was 84 and dying. But I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for the money. Furs, jewels, other things I won't shock you with. I thought they'd keep my conscience quiet. And they did. For quite a few years. But then, gradually, finally, my conscience took over completely. And now, Connie's trying to kill me the way I killed my stepmother.
Mara, that's enough.
She's done it. But now she'll try to blackmail Anne with the diary.
Mara, that's enough. Be quiet.
But you mustn't let her get any more money. Ralph, promise me you won't let Connie get any more money.
All right, I promise.
No more. No more. Money.
What happened, Bessie?
I tried to stop her, Doctor, but you know how proud she is. She wouldn't let that man see her in a sick bed.
What man?
From the bank. He had a package and wouldn't leave it with nobody but Miss Walworth herself. It was on the stairs going back to her room that she fainted. The package, it fell too. And all that money.
Money?
I never saw so much money, Doctor. It was downright unholy. I left it laying on the hall table.
Well, thanks, landlord. I was just about finished with this place anyway.
I'm writing off the rent you owe as a bad debt. Goodbye, sweetie.
Constance Walworth?
Yes.
Moving, Miss Walworth?
Why, no, I was just going on a vacation for a few days.
I'm afraid you'll have to postpone it.
Postpone it? Why?
I'll have to ask you to come along with us.
Are you arresting me? What for?
Let's just say there are a few questions we'd like to ask you.
About the fire? Well, I had nothing to do with it. I tried to help put it out. The curtains got caught on and... Is anybody hurt?
A woman died.
Who?
Your mother-in-law, Mrs. Myra Walworth. Heart attack. Less than an hour ago at the city hospital. Dr. Mitchell signed a complaint against you.
That miserable rat.
Let's go, lady. On the way downtown, you can tell us all about the fire.
Let go of me.
Aren't you running into filthy luck, Connie, dear?
I told you, sweetie. Connie always pays for what she gets.
I'd like to go to the hospital now. There's nothing more we can do here.
There's nothing we can do at the hospital either. Anne, your mother's dead. I'm taking care of you now.
Connie killed her. Connie and her filthy blackmail.
Yes, I know. But Anne, your mother wanted to die. She was happy to die. Connie's the only one who'll suffer now.
The way Mother did. And all for money.
"75 years. That's how much time you get if you're lucky. 75 years. 75 winters, 75 springtimes, 75 summers, and 75 autumns. When you look at it like that, it's not a lot of time, is it? Don't waste them. Get your head out of the rat race and forget about the superficial things that preoccupy your existence.
75 birthdays, 75 Christmases with your loved ones. That is all you have from God. You have to decide what is important in this moment, how you use your time wisely, because what you do creates your future, creates your tomorrow. Don't waste your time on bullshit. With the time God has given you, create your life, boost up your intellect, boost up your soul. That is giving you a chance to live a better life. God has given you time now. Don't waste your time on mindless television. Build up your intellect, your mind, your soul, your spirit. Open up your mind. Upgrade to IMFlix. Sign up to imflix.com. Change your life.